In today's Leeds news, EFL remains silent on Savile tragedy chants. Schumacher accuses refs of Elland Road bias, and this week's Loan Watch. Hi folks, Jay here on Wednesday morning 6th of March with your Leeds United news. A little bit of a trigger warning for people today. I am going to discuss an article that Graham Smith has written about the Jimmy Savile tragedy chanting that has been going on at opposition grounds this season, and it comes to Elland Road with opposition fans. I am going to talk about that, so just a warning in case anybody gets triggered by that, and I ask you to bear with me on this one because it's a tough one to talk about, but it is something that needs to be talked about, and I am going to cover. This is a Leeds United news channel for anybody who gets involved in the comments and tells me to stick to football. This is an all-up Leeds United news channel that relates to anything to do with Leeds United, but bear with me on this one. It's very much pointed at the FA and the EFL and their lack of action on that. We're going to talk about Stephen Schumacher's allegations that the referee had a bit of bias towards Leeds United, and referees in general had bias towards Leeds United at Elland Road, which is... He hasn't been watching Leeds United this year. And we'll cover off this week's Loan Watch as well. We'll start off with just a brief talk about last night. Leeds United just got across the line last night in a 1-0 win at Stoke. A win being the more important thing than a performance. Not a great performance last night by Leeds. Very much took the foot off the gas in the second half and created a lot of their own problems last night. But the most important thing was 3 points, and Leeds get that 3 points and move into Friday's game against Sheffield Wednesday, where they can hope to pick up another 3 points. And then there's a bit of a break for these players who looked very leggy last night to get a bit of a break, and a well-deserved break to rest up for the run-in. We'll get into the news now. We'll start off with the EFL remaining silent on the Jimmy Savile chanting. And this is taken from a piece that Graham Smith has written in the Yorkshire Evening Post that I recommend anybody who's interested in this goes and checks it out. Basically, this is in relation to last year. The football authorities released a statement and an action plan to clamp out tragedy chanting at football grounds, but they've remained silent on one particular chant this year. The EFL and the FA have been silent on the persistent and consistent Savile chanting around the grounds in England, and that comes to Elland Road with away supports every other week. Graham Smith, as I said, has written a piece on this in the Yorkshire Evening Post on a topic that he describes as one that nobody seems to want to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. Jimmy Savile's actions spanned 28 police forces across the UK, so there's always a very strong chance that some of his victims are present at those matches. As Smith points out in the article, this is a chant designed by opposition fans for point scoring and banter, but this is aimed using a man who raped children across the UK, and is a disgusting chant that has consistently rang around Elland Road from away supporters and Leeds fans have been subject to when they go to away ground. At some point, people are going to need to grow up, and at some point, people are going to need to take action on this, but the EFL and the FA have remained silent on this specific issue. Leeds have released statements this year condemning homophobic chanting. They've also released statements condemning anti-racist chanting and any kind of derogatory chants. It has been the same. A lot of clubs around England have also done the same thing, making football a place for everybody to go and watch their football club and support their football and make football very much about football. Except this one seems to go under the radar with the EFL and the FA. The governing bodies continue to allow this chant to go unpunished and without any form of statements or warnings. The tragedy chanting, as I said, has been banned, and if the EFL and the FA are serious about banning these chants, then they have to take this one seriously. If they don't believe that Jimmy Savile's actions constitute tragedy, and then there's some serious questions that need to be asked about the EFL and the FA's leadership and governing stance in the country this year. As I said, go check out Graham Smith's big one. Leeds fans have been subjected to this consistently. It's aimed directly at them. It's a horrible chant that is aimed at using victims of a horrible man in a footballing stance to have a go at a football club, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense and shouldn't be done. Anyone with kids should be ashamed of themselves for chanting it. So now it does point out in the article that, you know, we're not whiter than white ourselves. Leeds have had fines this season about certain chants that they've done as well, but they have been fined and there has been action taken against them, and that's all they're looking for here, is that the FA acknowledge and the EFL acknowledge that this chant is a tragedy chant and look to clamp it down and wipe it out across grounds across the UK. It seems to just go under the radar and ignored by the EFL and the FA, and that needs to be action. The chief executive of the EFL, Trevor Birch, needs to take action of this. The Football Association needs to take action on this, and there needs to be something done about it, because it's not right that victims of Jimmy Savile, you know, can't go to football matches, or if they do go, or have to put up with this kind of chant being aimed at them on a consistent basis. It's you'd hoped football's moved on. And speaking of moving on, we'll move on. Tough one to move on from, but we're going to talk about Stephen Schumacher accusing referees of Elland Road bias, which is an incredible statement if you've seen some of the decisions that have gone against Leeds this year. I think it's 12 penalty calls that have gone the opposite direction against Leeds that should have gone in favour of Leeds. So bias is definitely not something Leeds have been getting in their favour this year. But Schumacher said on the back of Leeds just scraping past Stoke City in a 1-0 win last night that the referee was far too quick to go to his pockets. According to Schumacher, he said the referee couldn't wait to give Leeds the advantage in the wake of Ben Pearson's 7th red card of his career. Schumacher feels that referee Oliver Langford was too keen to go to his pocket and use his card, which is funny because I thought the referee in the first half was incredibly lenient in Stoke's favour and could have gone to his pocket a lot quicker and a lot earlier than he did. Tony DeRigo on Leeds United TV commentary last night also pointed out that Stoke seemed to take the same approach that Huddersfield took to this game, being a overly physical and over-the-top approach with some of the tackles that were going in. Jorginho Rudd was taking a horrible tackle from behind that only got a yellow card as well. We saw Chris Somerville get tackled in the back of his calf last weekend, which should have been a red card. I think they got away with that as well. So I'm not sure referee bias actually stands up here. As I said, Pearson received his first yellow card for sticking his head into Joe Rodon after an argument that started on the park. Straightforward enough yellow card. His second yellow card after he pushed Ilya Gruev to the floor. Schumacher did say he was frustrated and didn't think Pearson needed to get involved in the first incident. He didn't. But feel that the second one was harsh and that it was obvious what the referee was going to do. The second incident should also be pointed out that Leeds were on a counter-attack and breaking when Ilya Gruev was cleaned out by Pearson off the ball directly in front of the referee. In the letter of the law, it's classified as a cynical foul because Leeds were breaking and it stopped the move. It's a second yellow card, which Pearson received a second yellow card and not a straight red. So it should be pointed out both incidents on their own did merit a yellow card. The first one possibly for sticking your head into a player could have got a red. But Schumacher feels that there wasn't a huge amount in that one. Schumacher did say that it was obvious what the referee was going to do once the incident happened. And I think that kind of answers his own question, really, does it? But he still thinks that there was a bias towards Leeds in the game. He did point out, though, that Elland Road is a fantastic atmosphere. He loves Leeds United and he thinks Leeds will definitely have enough to get promoted this year. We're going to wrap off today's news with this week's Long Watch, and we'll get into that now. Darko JB had 75 minutes for Plymouth in their 2-0 loss to Ipswich this weekend. Luke Ayling, 72 minutes in the 2-0 loss from Middlesbrough to Stoke. Sam Greenwood, 65 minutes in the same game, that 2-0 loss to Stoke City. Diego Riente was an unused sub for Roma in their 4-1 win at Monza, his second consecutive game on the bench. Rasmus Christensen played 27 minutes from the start in that game and was withdrawn then in the 4-1 win away to Monza. Jeremiah Mullen not in the Inverness squad again this week. That's 3 games in a row. I can't find out if he's injured or not, but there's nothing public about him. The player is currently not in their squad. Ian Poveda, 64 minutes in Sheffield Wednesday's 1-0 win away to Rotherham. Lewis Bate clocked up 90 minutes in MK Dons' 1-0 loss to their rivals Wimbledon. Max Fowler, another 90 minutes in Gladbach's 1-1 draw with Mainz. Brendan Aronson came off the bench in the 69th minute for Berlin in their 2-0 loss to Borussia Dortmund. Jack Harrison played 80 minutes before being withdrawn in Everton's 3-1 loss to West Ham. Mark Rocket played 46 minutes before being substituted in Betis' 2-1 loss to Atletico Madrid. And Cody Drama came off the bench in the 68th minute for Birmingham in their 4-3 loss at Southampton. There will be a match preview tomorrow night with myself and Andrew Dalton, LUFC Stats, looking ahead to the Friday night kickoff with Sheffield Wednesday. Leeds looking to get another 3 points because Ipswich just won't go away, will they? They just keep hanging in. How they got across the line last night, I don't know, but it was Leif Davis. Whatever about his own goal against Leeds, he's made up for it last night. 2 assists and a goal for Ipswich last night. They just won't go away. So fingers crossed we can get some favour tonight with Southampton and push them out of the picture, and then it's down to a 3-horse race hopefully for the running. But Leeds desperately looking forward to a break because the players did look very heavy-legged and tired last night. There was some question marks around decision making last night as well, but I'm sure we'll get there. The most important thing was to get 3 points and dig these results out. Which in the first half of the season, these are the kind of games we were dropping points in. So it's good to see that we can still dig out points in these games when we need to. That's going to be it for me today, folks. Massive thanks, as always, for sticking with me. And I will be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news and the match day preview tomorrow night. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.